Hi everyone, and welcome to another one of our mini practices and another corner of my house. I am just at this point trying to find anywhere where there are not children, cats or dogs where I can give you a little class every few days. So we're going to be working through a core strength practice today, so working with some of the moves that a lot of you are very familiar with a few sort of flexibility and twists as well. Okay, so when you're ready, we're going to start by coming to semi-supine. Knees bent, feet flat to the floor, roughly hip distance apart. Closing your eyes or softening your gaze. And bring your awareness into your breath. Taking a few moments to connect to the flow of your breath today. Is that breath fast or slow? Deep or shallow? Deep or shallow? Does your breath feel warm or cool? Are you breathing into the front of the body, the back of the body, the sides of the rib cage, or the collarbones? Allowing yourself just to connect with the flow of your breath as you begin your practice today. Each breath separating the busyness of your day, your to-do list and your worries, anchoring you to this moment, to this place, to your mat. Each breath grounding you and readying you for your practice to come. And when you're ready, slowly start to roll the back of the head across the mat. With the inhale, taking the chin over towards one shoulder. And with the exhale, rolling the head to take the chin to the opposite shoulder. And keeping that roll going, working from side to side with the breath. And when you've taken the head an even number of times to each side, bring it to rest back in the centre. Bring your awareness down to your knees and your hips. And as you exhale, both knees coming down towards the ground on the right hand side. As you inhale, bring them back up to centre. Exhale, take the knees over towards the ground on the left hand side. And again, inhale, centre. And keeping that flowing side to side, working with your breath. And when you've taken that an even number of times to each side, bring the knees back up to centre, rolling over onto your front. Going to lie on the mat, on your chest. So for most of you, your head will be down to the earth. I've got mine slightly lifted just to make it a little easier for you to hear me. So coming to lie on the front, starting by bending the right knee, lifting the foot up and rolling over onto the side of the body to tap the foot towards the floor. Rolling back to centre, stretch the left arm out, bending the left knee, starting to step the foot over the top and it might not come all the way down to the ground. And inhale back to centre. Keeping that going with arms outstretched, either side, as you roll over towards one side and just see about touching the toes towards the ground. Now if that's quite okay for you, you can see about bringing the whole of the foot down, so bring the sole of the foot, not just the toes down. You can also have a little play with where the foot lands. Maybe thinking about this time I'm going to go far away from my body. The next time you might come further in. You might take it further down towards the foot of your mat or high up towards the head. So have a little play as you roll that one side to side, lifting and twisting. Working left to right, right to left for the next few moments. And taking that an even number of times to each side. Going back to centre, placing the hands one on top of each other underneath the forehead. Taking a couple of breaths here. And as you inhale, lifting the head, lifting the arms away from the mat, lifting the chest, keeping the fronts of the feet down to the earth. As you exhale, softening back down to the earth. Keeping that going with the breath, so it's only an upper body movement. Inhale, lifting the head, the arms, the chest. Exhale, lower down. Making this the last one. Giving yourself a swing, a sway or a push up. And drawing back to child's pose, extended child's pose with hands to the earth. Bottom back towards the heels. And then drawing forward, bring the tummy down to the mat, keeping the chest lifted. And moving between those 2 points. Pull all the way back to child's pose. And then draw forward, drop the hips, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Working between the two. So I sometimes find as I do this one, I sort of start to work my way backwards along the mat. I don't quite know why. But just if you do find, like me, you end up off the ends, just giving yourself a little wriggle forward again, and going from there. Okay, and as you complete the next series of movements, bring yourself up to kneeling. If kneeling is uncomfortable, possibly think about putting a blanket or a towel under your knees. If that still doesn't work for you, coming to cross-legged. You won't have quite the same range of movement, but you will still have some movement in this pose. Fantastic. Okay. Taking the arms out towards the side. And as you exhale, taking the left hand down towards the earth, right hand up to the sky, looking up along that arm. And it might be that coming to the vertical doesn't give you much of a stretch, in which case taking it over towards the side, and we're hoping to feel a stretch probably through the side of the ribcage, but possibly under the arm. Inhale back to centre and exhale over to the opposite side. So a seated side bend. So try to do this without lifting either of your sit bones up. Sometimes when you're doing this cross-legged, it's a little easier to feel because you've got that firm contact between your sit bones and the floor. But you're trying to keep that contact between your heels and your sit bones. If you don't have that, get yourself your cushion, your towel, your blanket, stick it between your heels and your bottom, raise up as much as you need to get that contact. Because keeping that firm contact, really pushing down. So I'm stretching over towards my right now. I'm trying to keep my left sit bone pushed as firmly down as I can. Okay, brilliant. So still thinking about completing an even number each way. And then bring the hands back to the mat in front of you, back to all fours. So again, if you've got issues with your wrists, you can do this with the hands a little further forward than the shoulders, or down on forearms, or you can put a little wedge under the heels of your hands, such as a roll-up blanket, and lift up. Okay, pointing your toes away so the flats of the feet are on the floor. As you inhale, lifting the right foot up towards the sky, keeping that deep bend in the knee. And then as you exhale, tapping the right knee down to the floor on the outside of the left knee. Inhale, right toe up towards the sky. Exhale, knee down. Inhale, left toe up towards the sky, keeping the bent knee. Exhale, tap to the outside of the right leg. Inhale, toe up to the sky. Exhale, down to the earth. Keeping that flow going. Trying to work with control with your breath. And hopefully as you lift that toe towards the sky, you might feel a bit of a stretch through the front of the abdomen. That nice slow lower to the outside of the leg. Nice slow lift again. Give you a little bit of strengthening work with control. If you rush this one, you're getting a lot fewer benefits than if you do it as slowly as you can with control. So really think about bringing your awareness in towards your breath. Maybe lengthening the breath slightly if that is something you're comfortable with. Drawing the breath a little deeper and consciously thinking about a full exhale to release. Again, thinking about taking that an even number of times to each side. And if you need a break, pulling back for a moment, resting the wrists, Coming back to pose of a child, or coming back to seated, whatever you're more comfortable with, maybe rotating the wrists, maybe flexing the fingers. And then we're going to try making that movement a little bit bigger. This is where being in the corner of my house might not work brilliantly, but let's give it a go. We're going to try and add that twist and over the top movement we did right at the start with our little over the top dancing cat, okay? It's not a forward dancing cat, we're dancing sideways. We've got a shimmy of a cat today. So going back to all fours, lifting the foot up and over, you're going to step the foot to the ground on the outside, and then lift the hand to the sky to give yourself a full twist. Bring the hand back to the ground and step the foot back over. Stepping the foot out to the other side. Hope you got a little more space than me. Lifting the arm to the sky, opening the body, hand coming back down, and step the foot through. So as you do this a few times, you can really start to think about those stages of lifting the toe to the sky, stepping the foot fully over, twist and lift. Hand comes back through, toe up towards the sky with bent knee, and foot back down. So this is some of that work you did earlier where you learned to position the feet in slightly different places. Might come in useful if you're working in a sort of cramped space. If you have endless space for these home yoga classes, I've got to say I'm very envious. I miss our nice big church halls. Right, stay with this version if this is enough for you. Otherwise I'm going to change it a little bit again. So toe up to the sky, stepping over the top, lift the arm, and see about stretching away the bottom leg as well. Bend the knee, bring the bottom leg back down, and back through, tip the toes to the sky, and back down. Stepping over, opening the arm, and then stretching away the bottom leg. Bend the knee back down, and back down, toes to the sky and back through. Stick with your first version if that's quite enough for you. We'll give this one a go. You want that little bit of extra challenge. You can tell spring is here. There are hundreds of birds currently on the roof above me, so there's lots of tweeting probably coming through the camera. I do apologise for the thunk because quite often they fly into the glass roof as well. Okay, taking that an even number of times to each side. Bring yourself back to centre, pulling back up to kneeling, and taking a moment holding either the elbows behind you or interlacing the hands to draw down, open the chest, lift the gaze and take a few deep breaths. And when you're ready, coming round to seated. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor, the knees bent, spine nice and long. Taking a few breaths here, just grounding down through the sit bones to the earth beneath you. Seeing how that feels for you today. And then lifting the right foot from the earth and crossing it over the front of the left thigh. Letting the right knee fall open. Taking a few breaths. Notice if you've leant back to accommodate that movement. trying to stay seated as upright as is comfortable. I naturally rest my hands on the top, but you can rest your hands on the foot, the knee, the shin, just not putting a lot of pressure through the knee if that is where you're comfortable. You can also come to prayer. You can cross your arms, but I think that gives you quite a close posture, makes it harder to breathe. Now bring your hands to the ground, to the outside of that bent knee. So again, palms or tripod fingers where you're comfortable. Just being mindful if you're rounding the shoulders, trying to keep lifted out of the chest. And see that sliding the foot over towards the ground on that side. Taking a few breaths there. Still trying to think of that. My hands are on the right, so my left sit bone, I'm going to push that down to the earth. If that means you come up to your tripod, if that means you've got some blocks, then wherever you need to be to keep both sit bones down to the earth. Inhale, come back to centre. And we'll lift up the left foot this time over the front of the right thigh. So drawing up nice and tall. Taking a few moments to get used to that stretch, and if there isn't a stretch, trying to bring your leg a little bit closer to you. If your breaths are all uneven, taking these few moments to take deep breaths. And then walking the hands over to the other side. See about sliding your foot, so it might just come a little bit further across. And try to get your trousers stuck. Or you might be able to bring that one down. So you might find there's difference again, one side to the other. If this means you have to take your leg fully straight, you've got to lose most of that stretch. So keep some kind of bend in that bottom leg, even if that means you don't have your foot to the floor on this side. Keeping your twist there, maybe walking the hands a little further round. Holding there for a few rounds of breath. And inhale, coming back to centre. So you're all familiar with our boat pose. We've worked with this one many times before, where you lift the feet and come to a balance. So just give that one a quick try now, keeping it half boat. So knees bent, spine long, shins parallel with the earth. Trying to have that nice long line of energy from head to tailbone. See how that is for you today. On an exhale, releasing down. Lifting the first foot, it doesn't matter which side you're on. We're going to try that again, but unbalanced. So your body's going to have to compensate for the fact that one leg is extended, one's tucked in. So when you're ready, go into your figure 4 boat, figure 4 half boat, I guess. Holding there for a few rounds of breath. Releasing down when you're ready and changing side. So crossing the other ankle over the thigh. And when you're ready, tipping back using your core strength to engage, to come upright. Shin still parallel with the earth. spine still long, trying not to collapse the lower back. Taking a few rounds of breath. And exhale. Release down, bring the soles of both feet together. And extending out from the tailbone, lifting the spine. And folding forward as though trying to bring your chest to rest on your feet. So still nice long back in cobbler. Taking a few rounds of breath there. On an inhale, raising up once more. And bringing your legs either to cross-legged, so with the 2 feet tucked underneath, or if you are comfortable, to lotus with the 2 feet tucked on top. Okay? Either pose is fine for this, but with lotus you don't need to think about trying to lift your feet. I will show you with both. We're going to try our boat with our legs really tucked in. So as you can imagine, it can be quite hard to balance in this one. Okay, we're used to having our legs out there. Your whole centre of gravity is shifted, so your knees probably aren't going to raise all that much. So when you're ready, leaning back to your boat, with legs in lotus, or cross-legged, finding your balance point, and taking a few moments here. Remember, if your arms don't help you balance, if you'd rather bring them in closer to your heart centre, then you've got that option as well. Or I have seen a few people who prefer to do this with their hands behind their heads and their elbows wide. So, as long as your arm, or you can even have them out to the side, a bit like an aeroplane. Sorry, you can tell I've been doing yoga with children today. So, as long as you're happy, as long as you find that it's beneficial for you, as long as your arms are doing the same thing, you know? Having one hand to support your chin, the other one doing something else entirely, you're off balance, you're twisting. So finding the pose that works right for you. I said I'd show you as well the cross-legged version. And it's not stronger on the core, but I think it's a little bit stronger just to find your balance because your legs are working away. So what I tend to do is I tend to hold on to my toes in that version, and I hold my legs there. So I'm still thinking about the length of the spine, but because if I let go, my feet tend to fall open, I'll just squeeze my feet into my body to keep that pose right. Relax the shoulders back, and holding there. So whichever version you're working with, we've now had about a 2-minute hold. Well done. 2 minutes in boat. I quite like this version because as well as being a boat pose, you're getting that extra flexibility through the hips and the legs without even really thinking about it, because you're thinking more about your balance and about the core strength than you are about the legs and the hips. Well, that's my experience anyway. When you're ready, exhale, releasing down to the ground. Stretch both legs out, give them a roll, a wiggle. Bring the soles of the feet to the earth and windscreen wipe the legs side to side. Or moving in any other way that's right for you in this moment. And stretching one leg away, bringing the other knee in towards your chest, squeezing in, keeping the spine nice and long, taking a few breaths here. Stretching that leg away, changing sides, squeezing the knee in, spine drawn up and chest lifted, and taking a few breaths. And releasing that leg, stretching away. Bring your legs to however you're comfortable, cross-legged, lotus, legs straight, whatever works best for you. And again, just taking hold right at the elbows. Pull the hands behind you, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Feel the chest open. And release that out, drawing the shoulders up towards the ears, rolling back, down, forward and through. There might be a few little clunks and clicks. We haven't done very much work with the shoulders in today's class. And next time the shoulders come to the bottom, releasing that movement, bring your chin to your chest until you feel a long stretch to the back of the neck. Breathing deeply for a few rounds of breath. And inhale, returning your head to a comfortable, neutral point. Bring the soles of the feet to the earth. And we're going to work with as long a breath as you can comfortably manage. So as you exhale, arms outside the knees, starting to round the lower back, rolling all the way down, and taking the arms overhead to stretch away. And as you inhale, the arms start to lift towards the sky, and letting those arms help your body follow through to come back to seated. So working with that as slowly and as controlled as you can, with as long a breath as you can. Start to notice how your body works. So if there's a part of that lower that you rush through, or that you flop down from, being aware of that, and next time spending a little bit more time trying to be a little bit more controlled in that part of your lift and lower. And the next time you lower down, turning to semi-supine, knees bent, feet flat to the floor. If that isn't comfortable, or if you prefer to come to full Shavasana with legs stretched away, feet falling open, little toe edges towards the earth, arms alongside you on the mat, with palms up to the sky, and coming to that as another option. If you'd rather roll to your front, then taking that option as well, or coming to legs at the wall or seated against the wall. finding the relaxation position that is right for you today. And closing your eyes or softening your gaze. Bring your awareness into your breath. Taking a few moments to connect with the flow of your breath today. Is that breath fast or slow? Deep or shallow? Does your breath feel warm or cool? Are you breathing into the front of the body, back of the body, sides of the ribs? With each exhale, allowing the back of your body to release down the support of the earth beneath you. Feeling your whole body becoming heavy and still. With each breath, picturing the earth below you, subtly moulding to the shape of your body. You are part of the earth. The earth is welcoming you, creating space for you, supporting your body in all that you do. Allowing your mind to clear, blow away distractions, breathe out and let go of busyness. Your exhale, banishing negativity and worries. With each breath, your mind becoming calm and clear. Your body still and heavy. Your entire being at peace. Resting here for the next few moments until you hear my voice again. Taking a moment before you begin to move, before you return to your day, just to check in with yourself, seeing how your practice left you mentally, physically and emotionally. When you're ready, starting to bring some small movements back once more. Maybe to your fingers and your toes. Maybe starting to roll the head across the back of the mat. Maybe starting to curl out or stretch up. Curl up or stretch out. Moving in any way that feels right for you in this moment. Listening to what your body wants and needs. And in your own time, when you feel ready, rolling over onto the right hand side, taking a few breaths there, allowing the eyes to reopen, and then gently bring yourself back up to seated. And bring your hands together at your chest and prayer to close. And going today with peace, compassion, contentment. Namaste.